Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Gaza Goji YT, where today I'm making a video that I wasn't originally planning to make, but after reading this comment from one of my subscribers, I said screw it, let's do this. So today I'm making a hybrid to counter Harry Seng's Reiner 2.0, also known as Vegeta. Now you might be wondering why am I going up against this Reiner 2.0 instead of Goji Guy's Reiner. Well, first off, Goji Guy's Reiner got hanked. Go figure. And second off, even though there has been claims suggesting that Vegeta himself isn't all that functional, I plan to debunk those arguments very quickly right here. So, the entire argument revolves around Reiner 2.0's limbs being incapable of supporting its 14-ton body on land, due to the Triceratops shoulder anatomy making its forelimbs sprawled out, causing them to break under the pressure, as well as the paleoparadoxial limb anatomy being in general not designed for supporting bodies on land. So starting off with the Triceratops shoulder anatomy argument that was debunked by the Vivid Dane, aka Goji Guy's friend, in one of their live streams. Now, mind you, that the same person said that Triceratops limb anatomy and the ceratopsian limb anatomy in general allows them to turn much faster than even theropods, making them more agile. Not to mention that Triceratops, aka the contributor to Reiner 2.0 size, it also has those forelimbs that can support even greater sizes than what Lisovicia's limbs, which were directly underneath of its body, could support. So yeah, that's one. And two, the paleoparadoxia was not utilized for the limb anatomy, but rather it was used for the webbing between the hands and feet that allowed Reiner 2.0 to swim more comfortably in bodies of water. Other than that, Reiner 2.0 is bigger, stronger, faster, and more agile, can regulate its own temperature without the need of external sources, and is also a lot more social, making him much more true to the herbivorous lifestyle than Reiner. So with that out of the way, let's begin with our hybrid. The first genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Ingentia prima. This will be my hybrid's base genome. Ingentia prima was arguably one of the largest sauropodomorphs to ever exist, with a simple but versatile body that combines strength with mobility, as well as a facultative bipedal stance for a balanced mix of stability and mobility, in addition to very good color and night vision as a starting point in the sensory department. The second genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Tyrannosaurus rex. The most powerful theropod of all time, provides extra bulk to Ingentia's overall body, most notably the hindlimbs and tail, in addition to a sturdier skeletal frame with a thick gastralia for protecting its underbelly. It also provides its hip anatomy, allowing it to perform exceptionally sharp turns, but the epitome of T-Rex's contributions are situated at the business end of this animal, providing the endocranium for heightened intelligence and bolstered senses of sight, hearing, and smell, in addition to the overall cranium and neck, lips, dentition, etc., which contribute to its overpowered bite, coupled with low-frequency vocalizations, as well as soft feet pads for better stealth. The third genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Macrothorax, the most mega of all megaraptors. This bad boy provides a highly pneumatic skeleton with larger air sacs and a decent cooling system for a substantial increase in stamina, coupled with augmentations to the arms and claws, as you'll see more in a little bit. Also, it gives my hybrid 3 digits on its forelimbs. The fourth genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Shantungosaurus giganteus. The largest non-sauropod dinosaur that we know of, provides a much-needed size boost alongside its hind limb structure for supporting its much larger size, especially with those reinforcements from the T-Rex, and help it obtain bipedalism without getting crushed under its own weight. The fifth genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Gastonia burgei. This medium-sized nodosaurid will provide its specialized nostrils for cooling up the air accessing my hybrid's body, as well as its tail spikes, which will act as a useful weapon in combat. The sixth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Tagonolopus olenkai, a significant additive for armor, namely armor composition and distribution, courtesy of its exceptionally strong osteoderm-like scales that cover the entirety of its body. You'll see why that's important later on. The seventh genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Dolinosaurus glyphodon, an extinct red-toothed shrew from Spain. This nightmarish football had abnormally high concentrations of iron in its teeth, much higher than any modern-day shrew species that we know of. I can use PGE or precise gene editing to incorporate these iron deposits onto the claws and scales, as well as acting as a starting point in the immunological realm with a highly potent immune system. The eighth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Dinocrocuta gigantea. The largest hyena of all time provides a large array of contributions, including a further strengthened skeletal frame, muscle fibers, and a larger heart muscle that increase stamina and endurance while retaining strength, stronger stomach acids which contribute to a bolstered immune system, as well as bolstered senses of sight, hearing, and smell, in addition to increasing the attachment area for the adductor mandibular externus muscle, as well as increasing the amount of enamel in its teeth, further increasing bite strength and adaptability to breaking bones. The ninth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Panthera atrox, also known as the American lion. This gargantuan felid, alongside further boosting the three senses of sight, hearing, and smell, gives my hybrid its large canine situated at the front of the jaws, for better penetration through thick layers of muscle and armor, as well as asserting a good grip on whatever it bites down on. Furthermore, it provides even more augmentations to the forelimbs for even greater striking power. The 10th genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Indian gaur. Finally, moving on to the extant genetic additives, the Indian gaur provides its absurdly jacked up back with humongous muscle attachment areas, allowing for sufficient musculature for both the arms and the head without the need to sacrifice one for the other. It also provides another perk that will be revealed later on. The 11th genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the armadillo girdle lizard. This peculiar lizard is the main denominator for my hybrid's armor, with armored scales tipped in spiky protrusions for extra defense, as well as an ankylosaur-like facial armor with two pairs of spikes, the top pair of which will be influenced by the gaur's horns, making them sharper and more curved, giving it a more demonic look as well as acting as an extra form of offense. The 12th genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Galapagos land iguana. In addition to bolstered intelligence, beta-carotene-enriched claws, and an elongated tail, this iguana possesses a thick, hardened palate, strong gums, and a specialized forked tongue, which translates to the additional perk of Jacobs' organ for bolstering the sense of smell, which all contribute to its ability to typically eat thorny plants. In my hybrid's case, these will be used to protect its mouth insides from Vegeta's quills should he ever suffer from one. The 13th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the saltwater crocodile. The largest modern-day reptile provides a major boost to my hybrid's immune system, intelligence, even stronger stomach acids for greater energy efficiency, bolstered senses of sight, hearing, and smell, in addition to sensory pits all over its body for motion sensing, not to mention enhancing the low-frequency vocalizations from T-Rex, and lastly, increased tail musculature for greater striking force. The 14th genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the giant anteater. This funny looking mammal is not to be messed with its powerful arm anatomy as well as its three large sickle-like claws, all of which will be incorporated onto my hybrid as well as its knuckle-locking behavior, make it a dangerous animal if provoked. The 15th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the vampire bat. This fella needs no introduction, bolstered immune system to handle the high amounts of iron in its body, acute hearing, as well as thermal energy sensors built into its snout which work in tandem with an anticoagulant saliva. Moving on. The 16th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the New Caledonian crow. This iconic little bird, commonly associated with death, adds the neuron cap and neuron density of its brain for a substantial increase in intelligence. The 17th genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the great hammerhead shark. This bad boy from the oceans provides cartilaginous reinforcements to my hybrid skeleton, namely the inner layers of it. This helps with preventing the solid outer layers of bone from breaking under the sheer mass of this hybrid. And in the case of joints, this grants them greater flexibility, allowing my hybrid to move with greater grace. And lastly, it provides its liver, now being much better designed for filtering out huge amounts of toxins and minerals in the body, and thus preventing iron overload. And closing up our genome is the blue wildebeest, a master of power and endurance, with specialized muscle fibers that work in tandem with those of Dinocrocuta, with the added perk of conserving water better, allowing it to obtain high speeds without risking a heat stroke. Furthermore, it provides its mitochondrial storage capacity that not only makes it more resilient, but also increases the power of its muscles, making it all the more stronger. And lastly, it provides its cranium and neck augmentations for better withstanding strong head bashes. Now that the genome is set, let's introduce the final product. Canissaurus infernum, also known as the Saurian hellhound, codenamed Dwayne. Height 4.8 meters or 16 feet in its quadrupedal stance, 5.3 meters or 17.64 feet in its bipedal stance, length 15 meters or 50 feet, and weight 12 tons. Even though it functions mostly as a solo hunter, it can gather up in large groups in order to hunt in packs. With immense physical strength, surprising speed and agility, powerful armor, and a large multitude of weapons front to back, Iblis's minion right here is not to be underestimated. And with that, we conclude this video. I'd like to thank you so much everybody for watching, and be sure to tune in next time where we might come back for round 2 of Diablosaurus Titanis versus the Great Hybrid War. So until then, goodbye.